Special thanks to all our patrons who support the show every single week. Patrons, you keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we're so grateful for all the support you give and the community that you've helped us to build. Not a patron yet? Join us today. Head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or buymeacoffee.com/runeatdrinkpod and subscribe for bonus content, social media shoutouts, and much more. Help support our show by using our Amazon affiliate link anytime you shop on Amazon for running gear, food, beverages, or anything else the little gray trucks might bring your way. Just use runeatdrink.net/Amazon anytime you shop. There's no additional cost. It's just one bonus click to help us keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Go to runeatdrink.net/Amazon. And we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Daisy, and I'm the founder of Ergotrail. You are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Dana, we have a very special guest on our show today who founded a product that we need to carry to every race where we go. We have a founder who sent us a product, and she's here today. Daisy Myburgh, welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, and thanks for coming on to chat about this really useful tool in running.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat about it.
Yeah, happy to have you.
The product we're talking about is the Ergotrail Soft Flask. We have two separate products that have components of what you have created. Yours is the first that I've ever seen combine both aspects into one thing. So could you talk a little bit about it?
I'll tell you about how it came about.
Great.
I'm a trail runner. When you start running, you start with small distances and keep moving up. You have to carry more water with you as you go. So I one day was running with about 3 liters of water on me. I was like, no, this is too heavy. I live on a tiny island off Africa called Mauritius. It's a tropical island. So it's incredibly hot here. The amount of liquid you have to carry with you, and I'm sure you guys relate, being from Florida, it's incredibly hot there as well and humid.
Brutal.
I was going through about 1 liter of water an hour. And where I run in the mountains, there's a lot of natural sources of water, but it's not remote enough to want to just fill up your flask. It might not be the safest idea. So I looked into getting a filter for my bottle and came across 1 or 2 on the market. But they were really expensive and didn't strike me as being very safe because they were open around the edges. I figured the water is bypassing the filter a little bit. So I thought maybe this is an opportunity to create something. So I just started Ergotrail. I designed the filter and the flask and put the 2 items together. As you mentioned, you use a life straw and then a soft flask, which is also a brilliant combination. But yeah, we made the flask, the filter, and now I can run with 1 bottle and just fill up at every stream that I go to and have enough hydration for the whole time and not have to carry pounds of weight on my back.
That's true. It's like kids in school with backpacks full of books. I feel like if you train with it, you can do it. But if you can have something small and simple and compact that you can just apps and put in the pocket of your running pants.
Exactly. You can just put it in your pocket.
Not only does it work in that kind of setting, but at races, you don't necessarily have to stop, drink out of a cup, and then look for a trash can.
Create a mess for somebody else to clean.
So I feel like it's great. It's comfortable, and it's got a bite valve on the top.
I have one right here that was sent to us so we could try it out.
We came prepared.
And while I'm unboxing, I know that I skipped the first intro question. I'm excited about this.
Daisy, while he's unboxing your magical product that we are in love with right now, tell us a little bit about your background. You said you're into trail running. You live on an island, but how did you get into running?
Yes, it does sound absolutely bizarre. I live on an island. So I'm from South Africa. It's a small country at the tip of the African continent. I'm from Cape Town, which is quite a well-known city. It's got beautiful mountains and a lot of trail to run there. So I started as a bit of a road runner doing the local 5K here and there, and then slowly realized that it was more scenic in the mountains, quieter and a little bit more peaceful. We go camping a lot, as I mentioned, so it's always nice to get out into nature. My husband and I moved to Mauritius, this tiny island, 3 years ago for work. We are entrepreneurs, so he works for himself, I work for myself. He does a few other Amazon businesses, which is how I was able to get into doing a trail brand on Amazon, which we'll get into a little bit later. But we just came for a bit of an adventure. It's been wonderful, and we are about to move back to South Africa, which I'm very happy about. There's some really cool trail races that I want to get involved with there. I've done quite a lot of racing in Mauritius as well. There's a good scene here. So that's the story.
Yes.
That's a good story.
We're having coffee because you're coming to us in the morning, a Sunday morning for us. However, you're coming to us by way of the future. This is exciting. Can you get us like the winning lottery tickets for the night? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's a good idea. Can we split?
Yeah, let's do it. So it's actually 6 p.m. where you are?
Yes, it's 6 p.m. and it is flipping hot. I've got the aircon on.
Oh,
We
you
do
too.
most of the year here. Even our winter is very mild, and we're currently into the 80s, pushing the 90s right now.
How's the humidity where you are?
Oh, it's usually like 80% plus.
It's like our summers.
That's us.
Yeah.
Yes. That's like our summers.
I'm so glad you guys can relate. Like, no one else can relate to this.
We can, and the fact that your product addresses a problem that we've had is really nice. There's a point of diminishing returns, and I think you hit the mark with 3 liters. That's over a gallon, in excess of 8 pounds that you'd be carrying on your back. If you don't train your entire training season with that kind of weight, you're going to have problems with whether it's your hydration package shifting and it's chafing, your muscle aches caused from carrying that extra weight, whatever the case may be.
Cramping in
And
your
it's
back.
just more stuff that you have to deal with.
Nothing freeing about running on the trail with a very heavy weighted pack. It doesn't feel nice.
This is it. I'm showing this to everybody on the camera here. This is the Ergotrail flask. And this thing is tiny. I can almost conceal it completely in one hand. This would go easily in your side pocket. To me, it's ingenious to incorporate the filtration. I don't know. I would like to say no one's crazy enough to just drink from a stream and not have a filter, but there are people who would totally do that. I promise you, there are people who would do that. And that's a great way to get nasty gut bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Hospitalized or worse. So this filter that you've included, I saw on your website, this gets out the microbes, the protozoa, the amoebas, the little creepy crawlies that can get you.
And I went,
That's it.
the factory offered me, what kind of filtration do you want? And I was like, listen, I am potentially filling this up with very dirty water, and I want to make sure that I will be safe. And I can't sell something that could potentially make other people sick. So I said, do it to the max, and you will see that when you use it, it does come with a little drawback in that the flow is not as fast as it would be without a filter. But that's how you know that the filter is doing its job. Because if you open it up, you can actually have a look inside and see what the filter looks like. It comes off, so you can use the flask with or without the filter.
I used it without the filter because I knew that we would have nice, safe, clean drinking water at the water stop.
If you open it up, you can even take that little rubber thing off the top. You can have a look inside to see what the filter looks like. It's called a hollow tube. Anything that is bigger than that filters through those tiny little tubes. At other trail filters, the water goes in almost near the top, which doesn't make any sense because it's supposed to go through the tubes to be filtered. It comes with the drawback that the flow isn't so fast, but I would rather not get sick than get a fast flow.
It's funny that you said that. The idea that a little bit of water getting around the filter, that's all. And the microbes, there are lots of them in a little bit of water.
So it filters out all the protozoa and any contamination in the water. And it also has activated carbon in it, which takes any sort of nasty taste out. I store it in my fridge and water gets that freezery taste.
Yes.
It even filters that taste out completely, which I find a nice added benefit.
Or it can take on that kind of plastic. If it sits in plastic long enough.
I've made that mistake. I filled up hydration bladders before, like in my backpack for camping. Filled it up just so that I wouldn't have to worry about it day of leaving, and then the water tastes of the bladder.
So you've talked about coming up with it and the process of getting the filter right, but how did you create it? How did you collaborate with others to perfect it?
So I first went to my husband and I said, listen, I have this idea. What do you think? And he said, no, it sounds like a good idea. I found different suppliers that had ready-made things, different options, and a supplier that specialized in filtration as opposed to athletic bottles.
Oh.
Because I wanted the emphasis to be on the filtration. There were a few design points I mentioned to them. I really wanted it to have a nice big opening because I like to scoop ice into my bottles before I run. And I like to scoop drink mix, carb mix, electrolyte powder, whatever you want to put in. The other bottles always have tiny openings and the powder gets everywhere. It needs to be comfy and soft, big opening. And then the filter was obviously the focus. They gave me options on different filtration and we went with the maximal filtration. It's a bit of a liability issue too, and an ethical issue. I would never want to sell something that would put anyone at risk. So we made it the safest that we possibly could. And it took quite a long time. It took about 6 months because as everything is manufactured in China, we had samples backwards and forwards sent to us.
Different generations of testing.
Exactly. So they would send me some and then I would fill them up, go for a run, use it, and then come back to them and be like, no, I need to change that and this. As a small business owner, I obviously couldn't use a big agent. I had to do everything myself and communicate with the manufacturers. If you come up with something, you can actually do it alone. You don't need to go through big companies and agents.
I tell you, it sounds like you went through and made the water bottle you would want to use, which I think is exactly what you'd want to do. Something that I noticed that I really like about this, you've got that big wide opening like you talked about, but you've also got this harder, I don't know if it's a plastic or a silicone shoulder. I can hold on to that without squishing the bottle so I can scoop ice in or I can get the fluid in. That's just a nice little design touch that a lot of companies might otherwise overlook.
Yeah.
I've seen some products where they try to make something like this and it's the collapsible bottle and it goes to a flip top mouth opening.
Yeah.
Pain in the butt to fill. So this is much more user friendly. And
you are correct that I made exactly what I wanted. And I asked my other trail running friends what they would want in a bottle. I did quite a lot of questioning of people. They sent me a few samples where the bottom was harder, like the top. I said, absolutely no way, because if it's in a pocket or in a pack and then it's tight, it's going to rub on you and make chafe. So it had to be perfect.
You said you tested it. Did you also have your running trail friends test it as well?
I asked them to help me with some of the marketing. I did photo shoots with them, and in exchange, I would give them bottles to test and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
That's how I roped them in.
Wonderful.
And I love the material you went with. It's heavy duty. Ripping.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call this, if it's silicone or what, but
it's a type of plastic, but it is recyclable. You can recycle it.
Okay. Well, it's
all food grade and it's BPA free. That was really important to me because I know a lot of outdoorsy people really care about these things. I certainly do. Being a plastic product, there's only so much you can do, but I wanted to do the maximum that we could.
Plastics aren't all bad. They only account for about 3% of landfill space. If you reuse and recycle, it's very responsible. And heavens knows, we've seen thousands of environmentally friendly paper cups crushed up and tossed on the side of race courses.
Yes. And we appreciate volunteers who pick them up. How long does the filter last before you need to replace it?
Yeah, that's a good question. They couldn't really tell me an exact point. They said a couple of years and you will know. if the taste of the water stops being filtered, for example, once the carbon has been worn away, it will stop the taste, but the taste will go before the actual filter part. So you're not in any danger. If those little hollow fibers crack and break physically, they're not filtering. But until they get blocked, they could get blocked and the water flow will stop and you'll know that it's time to replace. But there's no danger in it. If it's working, it should be good.
Yeah. And see, I think that's great. Those cartridges. In fact, let me check real quick. You've got the ability to get additional cartridges on your website, correct?
Don't yet. We don't, but we're working on that. I wanted to be like the one-stop bottle shop and be able to sell all the filters separately, the little bite bulbs. I want to add straws if you need them. I want to sell replacement lids if you need another one. And I wanted to do it all separate. But with Amazon, it's a little bit complicated. And yeah, it's a little bit complex. But we're getting there. We're still a baby company.
Coming soon.
You said it took 6 months to create it. And when you got it, how long before it was on Amazon and what kind of process was that?
So while I was doing the design, my husband, the expert, was doing the listing and the images. By the time the soft flask was ready, within those 6 months, it took us a couple of weeks from there to make it live on Amazon.
Wow.
You moved quick at that point.
Yeah. That is pretty efficient. Offered in different combinations on Amazon.
So you can buy a 3-pack, which is just the bottle without the filters. That's 3 soft flasks with big openings. Then you can buy a soft flask with the filter, and that's a separate listing.
If you were road runners doing organized races, you might want the ones without the filters. However, if you will use it for both purposes, then you have the complete package there as well.
Exactly. And once you have the soft flask, they still have that little notch where you can attach the filter. So if you buy a 3-pack, the plain ones, and you have one with a filter, you can use that filter with all of the bottles.
When you said years for the filter, I was thinking it would be like a printer cartridge situation where you would have to replace.
It also depends how much you use it in those years. You know, if you're going to be filtering 3 times a day, every day, then I would probably say it might break down within a year. But if you're going to use it once a week, you know, it's going to be very different. That's why it's so difficult to tell, because you can't really say when it's going to break down. And because it's a physical thing, you'll know if it can't filter anymore, then it's broken and that needs to be replaced.
So then it also came with instructions and first use direction. And this situation right here, these packs, they looked like breath mints first to me, packaged like breath mints.
You'll only make that mistake once.
Can you tell the Runcation Nation what these are?
Yes, of course. This comes from my personal experience, and I'm assuming other people have had the same. When you buy a plastic soft flask and fill it up for the first time, you're very excited and take it on your run. You take a sip, spit it out immediately and go, why does it taste like plastic? So I was like, okay, I know how I solve this problem. I do it with all my soft flasks. I always soak them overnight with a spoonful of, then in the morning I just rinse it out, and you never have that taste ever again. And if you ever need to refresh it, you just do that again. So I thought, how can I incorporate that? I'm not going to send a little bag of white powder along with the bottle. So
can you imagine?
American law enforcement would love that.
Can you imagine?
Exactly. Some foreigner trying to sell stuff on Amazon. So anyway, I found these tablets. They're just pure baking soda tablets.
Oh, look. What is this kitty's name?
Garfield.
Garfield.
Orange.
That's perfect.
It's enormous. Being booted. So he's so loud. He doesn't stop meowing.
His name is Bruce, and you can hear him no matter where he is in the house.
Bruce is such a good name for a cat. It's brilliant.
Yeah. He's so cute.
Animals with human names. So I found these baking soda tablets, and I thought I'm just going to throw 2 of those in the box. You got 2, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then I wrote a whole instruction sheet on what to do with them. The instructions say you should just put them in the bottle overnight with some water when you first get it, and then the next day give it a good wash.
Should you repeat that process during the use of it?
So if it ever gets any sort of smell, if you've used a drink mix in it or without the filter and you left it in your pack overnight by mistake or something like that and it starts smelling funky, you just need to soak it with some baking soda and the next day wash it out and it'll be all good. It's actually a really great tip for any bladder, soft flask, anything like that. You can always use baking soda to refresh them. And then the other thing I do is I always keep them in the freezer. When I'm done with them, I get home, give it a rinse, chuck it in the freezer and sort it because you'll never get mold that way if you store them in a humid climate.
Absolutely. What might be worse than the flavor of the plastic from the bladder or from the soft pack is the flavor of penicillin when you take a sip out of it. I need to cleanse this. We need to purge it.
Definitely.
So that's a great tip, not only for these, but for any big bladder.
Like you said.
I'm excited for what's to come when you mentioned straws. Being able to put something like this on your shoulder and then have a straw with a bite valve or, on the side of your backpack.
Or it would fit in a vest.
This is also going to appeal to that ultralight crew, that subculture of campers and runners, creating arguments online about going down to the gram in terms of total weight you're carrying. If you're not familiar with it, the equipment they use for camping, the tents, the backpacks, they're all made of materials that are just super space age, very light. They can still sometimes carry 35, 40 pounds total on a camping trip. And that's it. They've got everything that they need. And that includes food and everything. But to have something like this where you can...
That weighs next to nothing,
And you're as long as you've got a water source nearby.
Exactly.
Like you said, we are big fans of Element.
Oh, yeah.
Have
I
you?
love Element. It's so good for electrolytes. We need it because of the humidity and heat.
So you can use it in here. You just put it in the bottom before you travel or put the water in there.
And then I'm guessing for those uses, you don't want the filter in.
Exactly. You just stick it in your pocket or in one of the pockets on your vest, on your pack. And then when it's empty and you want to refill, you just attach it. That's why it was important for me that you could remove it and put it back.
The filter.
Because there's various different liquids that you're going to be using in it.
By the way,
And you don't want to, because you need that.
put it in, then you filter.
Oh, that's because yesterday I brought it to a race that was entirely on a beach, Daisy. And I didn't use the filter because they had water stops where I could fill up the bottle and it was fine. But if you have salt water and it's not like an electrolyte drink, will the filter that out so that it, I don't know. I'm bad at science.
We have it. Will this do salt water?
I don't know, but I doubt it. Salination is quite a specific scientific process, which I'm not familiar with.
It'd probably clog up your filter super quick.
It's a lot of salt.
Yeah.
It's a lot of salt.
No.
Okay.
And most trail runs aren't going on.
That is. So I did it right.
Watch us run down to the beach to test this tomorrow.
Oh, if you do, let us know how it goes.
Report back.
What kind of feedback did you get from people when you started to put it out there in terms of testimonials and use?
Yeah, we've had really good feedback for the guys that I gave the filters in exchange for their time to do photo shoots with me. They're all pretty serious ultra runners, training for 5+ hours a day on weekends. They needed something like this. They were drinking the river water not filtered. Also getting a lot of GI stuff where I'd be like, maybe it's from that river water.
Yeah.
They were really happy. They've been training with them ever since. They haven't stopped using them. As I said, nothing's perfect. But the one complaint we've had is with the faster guys, the flow isn't fast enough for them because you can't really gulp because it's going through the filter. It's going to be slower. But there's a little workaround that I do when I'm trying to run faster is that I will stop at a river, I'll refill the bottle, and then I just take off the little bite valve and refill my other bottle with the filtered water.
Yes.
Actually turn it upside down and I'll pour it into another bottle. And then once that bottle's filtered, I'll close it up and drink that bottle with a faster flow while I'm running. if that makes any sense.
It makes total sense.
I just use it as like a filter, not like a bottle. I just use it as like a jug filter on the go.
And they're light anyway.
I've seen that type of setup for camping, have a bladder, a filter, and the connector that goes to another bag. That is super smart to be able to do that on the go.
Okay.
Those setups are like 2 or 3 liter bags hanging on a tree.
I've seen these images where they hang them up and let it drip through.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that, except I squeeze it. Hurry up.
That's perfect. And to be able to do it on the go is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's good for short. I know that I tested it in the 5K coming
amazing.
back from
That's
injury.
Amazing.
How far have you taken it and what running distances?
So I'm not one of those 100-mile runners yet. Don't know if it will happen in my future. But
we have a
the
couple
moment
of those in our Runcation Nation too. Coach, yes, we have Coach Twiggs and Dean Gerber out there. So as you're listening to this episode, that's you guys.
That's epic. Much respect to all the miler runners out there. My favorite racing distance at the moment is 30 to 58 kilometers. I don't know what that would be in miles. Do you guys know?
She's going to find out.
Kilometers?
32 kilometers and 58 kilometers?
I race anything from 20 to 58 at the moment, but I am thinking about signing up for my first 100K this year.
Okay. It says 58 is 36 point.
It's the longest race I've ever done.
And then 100 would be 62.1.
That is a long way.
I did my longest race this last year and I qualified to go to OCC at UTMB, the World Series finals in August this year.
Congratulations.
So that's the aim. It's in France. So yeah, I'm going to try and get there. But if I don't, I'll make a plan at some point.
So what is this event that you've qualified for in August?
It's called UTMB, Ultra Trail Mont Blanc, and it's the World Series final. They hold races across the world, and you eventually qualify to go and do one of the races in Chamonix in August.
Is that the most recent thing on your race calendar?
Yeah, I have a few races coming up. In another couple of weeks, I'm about to do a 30K on the island. It will be pretty fast and a little bit technical with about 2,000 meters of climbing. And then I'm doing a mountain marathon in South Africa in May, which is 42.2. I'm just trying not to get injured at the moment. Eating enough, drinking enough, and trying to stay on top of any niggles.
Absolutely. You don't want to run past the threshold of irritation if you've got any.
Because you want to show up at the start line.
Exactly.
Do you have a race in mind that you've done in the past that you would consider to be a must-do for runners?
Oh, it's so difficult if I'm speaking to an American audience because I can't tell you to come to Mauritius. It's this tiny little island off the coast.
We
But
are
if I can
technically
tell you-
international.
We are international. We have people in Canada, Germany.
I just feel like America has so much to offer. It's a huge continent that if you want to travel, you can come to Mauritius or South Africa. The one I would say that anyone should try is Ultra Trail Cape Town. It's in Cape Town every November, the end of November, and it attracts a lot of international runners. You guys have had a lot of athletes come and perform really well. Jim came and did it. And Jim Walmsley.
Okay.
Yeah, he came and did it and won it. Courtney DeWalter was there a few years ago and she came and won it. Every year there's a whole US team. And it's a beautiful race. It showcases the best that Cape Town has to offer because you can do the 100-miler and see the entire coast. You see the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. You have views from Table Mountain. So yeah, it's got everything that a good trail race should have. And it's got the vibe and the community too. We always look forward to sharing that with our international runners.
It's always good to be able to, because like we always say, the nicest people you'll ever meet are runners.
Absolutely.
So true. It's so true. I don't know if it makes us nicer or if nice people are attracted to running, but you're so right. It's such a supportive, warm community. You can go anywhere in the world. And as long as you find a couple runners, you're good. You'll have a great time.
And people motivate you.
It's the trauma bond of everyone having been
I know.
out there for the miles and in the heat. And you understand that a mile's a mile or a kilometer's a kilometer, regardless of your speed. I think there's that bond there for sure.
When you carry hydration in a race, what do you put in your hydro flask?
I usually do 1 flask of Tailwind. I love Tailwind. I've always used it.
Fans?
Always with caffeine. The caffeine is a non-negotiable for me. The Tailwind flavors that are caffeine, I think, are the raspberry, and a few of the others do have it. So yeah, Tailwind with caffeine in 1 flask. And then in the other flask, I do an electrolyte. If I'm in a very hot situation, I'll have 1 of plain water. Always plain water is a must.
Yeah. Do you carry any nutrition?
Yes. So I tend to use gels or energy drink at the distances that I'm racing, like the 20s, 30s, 40s. It's all a little bit fast I tried half a sandwich in my 50K last year and I just couldn't. So I'm quite jealous of the people that can eat real food during a race. For me, yeah, I'm all about the gels. I use a lot of SIS, Science and Sport, those isotonic gels. Those are really good. So between Tailwind and gels, that's usually my fueling. And I try to get between 60 to 100 grams of carb per hour in a race.
You do music or run?
I listen to podcasts a lot when I run.
Me too.
Yes. We love it. We love it.
Run. And then music and races. When I'm struggling with motivation, you need a little bit of a kick in the butt. Then you put your music on.
Okay. We've talked about nutrition during a race. We've talked about hydration during a race. Let's talk about crossing the finish line and then celebrating with what food and what beverage. Where have you found the best celebratory meals and beverages?
That is such a good question. Certainly not in Mauritius. The food here is subpar. South Africa. It's an island. Everything is imported. It's very sad. Yeah. But yeah, in South Africa, definitely my go-to post-race meal is always a burger. I just need that protein. It's just the perfect combination of protein and carb and everything. And then post-race, generally like at ultras and at trail races in South Africa, you get handed a beer or like some sort of ale at the end, which works really well for recovery. Yeah, nothing like an ice cold beer as you cross that line, right?
Yes, like a lighter one. I'm not going for, I know we like stouts and
No, not for
porters, but
post-race.
this is not the time for that. Yeah.
Something light and easy.
Like a lager or, yes, very good.
Yes.
So, Daisy, where can the Runcation Nation connect with you online, social media, and where can they get their very own Ergotrail flask?
You can check out the Ergotrail product on Amazon. You can search for them, or I will send you the link. I wanted to offer you a discount code for your audience, so I will give that. It will be a decent one. I just have to speak to the Amazon expert. In terms of finding us on social media, we are on Instagram, ergo_trail, and Daisy _Myburgh is my running and trail running Instagram.
Thank you for the discount code. We're going to have links to everything in the show notes. So your social media, where to get the Ergotrail flask, and
website with
information on the discount code.
And then the website with all the testimonials.
Yeah, our website is, sorry, you're right. We do have a website. We're not only on Instagram.
We just want to tell everybody everywhere. You know what I mean.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I love how you support small businesses and entrepreneurs. Our website is ergotrail.com. You can find it.
Simple.
And I'm on the website right now. It's a great site. It's a fantastic product. And we are just excited to tell the Runcation Nation about it. We're grateful for having you on the show today.
Thank you for the discount.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to be listening to more of your podcasts on my runs. Thank you so much for discussing the bottle with me.
Oh, yeah. We can't wait to follow it and keep up with all the latest innovations as you add to it, because it sounds like you're very passionate about it.
You can come back on the show anytime and tell us about what's next and new for the Ergotrail line.
I appreciate it. And I hope you guys will come and visit me in South Africa. I will show you all the wine farms and food. The food there is next level.
Wine? That sounds amazing.
It's not breweries, it's wine farms.
There are breweries we can do as well.
But you're a fan of the wine farms.
The wine farms in South Africa offer a holistic experience of food and wine, views, places for kids to run and play, pools to swim in, and vegetable gardens to look at. It's just unreal.
Thank you very much again for coming on the show today, Daisy. We are looking forward to exploring and indulging with you at some point in the not too distant future.
That's a wrap. So thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you are. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.